That's the title of the episode. Don't take my Garmin away from me. No, the title of the episode should be, Has It Really Been a Year? I think, but we've used that before, haven't we? That was one of my favourite things. Call it, Will's had COVID. No, don't call it that. Call it, I don't know.
Welcome to Frackulous, a technology podcast for humans. Episode 341. iPhone 14 Pro. Shut up. The Apple Watch Ultra and Twitter is fine. Recorded January 2023. Humans are weak.
I'm feeling kind of laid back tonight, guys. Just letting you know. I'm very chilled mode.
If you're chilled and laid back, does that mean that we can address some topics that would otherwise get some ire and vigour from you, and we can talk about the death of buttons on phones, and you're just going to go along with it then, right?
Sure, I'm with it. Yeah, buttons. Pfft, who needs buttons?
Who needs buttons? Will, well, I mean, let's go straight in. You've got a newish phone, and that doesn't have a Touch ID anymore, does it?
It doesn't. It has a dynamic island.
A dynamic island. When they launched that, how I laughed. I think the whole world laughed with a dynamic island. How have you found your iPhone 14, Will?
Really good. Love it. I went from an 11, so quite an upgrade. Wasn't really lasting the day, the battery life. I was constantly in low power mode, so that's good. I do find it big, though. In theory, it's the same footprint as the 11, but it's definitely thicker. Feels thicker.
Right. So you've got the 14 Pro, not the 14 Pro Max.
No, not the Max. I think the Max would be crazy. You've got a Pro Max, haven't you?
I have the 13 Pro Max, and I mean, even if I wanted to upgrade to the iPhone 14 Pro at the moment, it's pretty damn difficult because there aren't too many of them around.
Yeah, I got in a couple of. When was it? Got in the queue. I used the app. I did the trick of adding it to your saved items. Mm-hmm. And then when you open the app, it basically says, do you want to buy this now?
Yep.
Did that. I was doing the finance option. Was unclear if that counts as your time in the queue or not. So I was trying to very quickly process that. I don't think it does. It feels like it doesn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, got in, day one, ordered, day one delivery.
Wow.
I was in a meeting when they rang the doorbell and went straight down. Guy had already left. Luckily, he was delivering other phones on the street. So I had to leg it down the road in my socks. I managed to catch him. And then I had a very, very short window because we were going camping that evening. So I had a very short window to transfer everything over so I could then have fun with the new phone.
And hopefully have your phone not run out while on a camping weekend, your new one. So how did that transfer go?
Terribly.
Okay, because there are several ways that you can transfer if you are upgrading your phone. And Jeff, I'm sure you've got some insight into this as well, because I know that you've picked up a new device since we last spoke on here. But when you get a new iPhone,
hang on, what?
I think you got yourself.
You know my buying history better than I do. Oh, well, sure.
I seem to remember I was in a bathroom at an event and you were texting me about an iPhone SE 2022 and I was taking some time out to answer your questions. The next thing I knew, probably before I'd even flushed the toilet, you'd gone and bought it.
Have we not seriously done a Frackulous for like a whole year then? Has it been a year?
Yeah, it's been pretty much a year.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, in that case, I've had multiple phones. Sure. Yeah.
So let's come back to that in a moment. But when you upgrade to a phone these days, you have several options for transferring your stuff across, don't you?
You can do what was the iTunes backup, no longer iTunes, but back it up to your Mac. Mm-hmm. Copy it back.
What do you mean no more? No, it backs up to the cloud. It's always backed up to the cloud.
No. So you can do just the iTunes local equivalent, but it's just a folder on your Mac now. It's like part of Finder, I think. So you can do that one, but then you lose your Wi-Fi passwords and some other encrypted data. You can do the iCloud.
No. No, on the Windows iTunes version, it always let you save your keychain.
Oh, if you encrypted it, but you still lost some stuff.
You had to encrypt it with another password.
Yeah, that was it. But I think there was still some stuff you lost, like your Apple Pay and things like that.
But I just back up to the cloud now. I just cloud it. Yeah.
So you can do backup to the cloud, or you can do device to device, where you just put one device next to the other and it copies. And that local wisdom said was the best way. The fastest. Bear in mind, I had a very short window. That would have got my phone workable again quickest. So I did that, left it, took a couple of hours while the clock was ticking, the car was being packed.
I love the deadline here.
There was a deadline, and obviously in this state you can't use either phone. They're both kind of locked out.
And with the device-to-device transfer thing, I mean, I'm just trying to get a gauge as to exactly what kind of data it's transferring over, because if your data is already backed up to the cloud, then it's rather than the cloud, it's getting it from your phone. But is it also copying the app installs over as well, or is it just saying
that's where it all went wrong?
Oh, okay.
So the device transfer went fine, and then I opened up my phone, and obviously it was showing like all the apps still downloading.
Yeah.
And they were just spinning and spinning and spinning. And then I tried to log it, like select a couple. They wouldn't download. Went into my iTunes. It wouldn't authorize my iTunes account.
Oh.
Took the SIM. I think I took the SIM out in the end. I think I'd already transferred the SIM. And basically, it was either I put the SIM in or I took the SIM out. And then it finally authorized iTunes or my Apple ID. But by that point, it decided it wasn't going to download any apps automatically. So that meant that I went from however many our last count in the 600s. Yes. I got reset basically back to the beginning. So
like only a few dozen kind of stock apps, or
so basically any app I have on my phone now is one that I've had to actively download because I need it.
Well, normally we save this for the end of the show, but I think we should probably do an app count now, chaps.
I think you needed an app cull anyway, Will. It was about time.
You think? So bear in mind I started from scratch. How many apps do you think I have on my phone now?
212.
I'm going to go... Actually, I'm pretty close to you, Jeff, but just to make it interesting, 150.
285.
Oh!
Do I win? What do I win? What's my prize?
You win the closest.
Thanks. I've got 87. Thanks for asking.
But that is generally how many apps I use on have used since October when I upgraded my phone.
You can't. You can't use 200. Nobody uses that many apps.
I clearly do.
That's just weird.
Wow, Jeff, you have a remarkably small number.
I keep everything trimmed and cut down. I'm notorious for clearing up and deleting old stuff, and I don't like having things hanging around. Yeah.
You got. So hang on, we'll come back to the resolution of your story in a moment, but I feel as though I need just to press Jeff a little bit here. When you upgraded your phone, however you did it, did you kind of start from fresh and then reinstall the apps that you needed, or did you do the transfer thing?
No, you just do iCloud backup for sure. It did. Okay. I actually did. I tried doing it in the Apple Store, but their Wi-Fi was so slow, it was just taking forever. So I just came home and do it and blazed through it in about 20 minutes. But it is frustrating to sit there and watch all the spinning around happening. What you should know, because you mentioned the button, I know this is my thing, but because I fear losing the button, last time I bought it's going to sound so this is going to sound very extravagant. Last time I bought a phone, I bought 3 phones. So because
at the same time
of the same phone.
Yeah,
at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so I'm using 2, and I've got one sealed in a box, unused, so that in a year or two's time, when one of them dies or breaks or the battery dies, then I'll just crack open the new phone. And if I hear for sure that Apple are removing the button phone, I will go out and buy another one.
Did you see Casey's last video?
The boosted board. Yeah, he bought 8 boosted boards.
He worked out how many boosted boards he needed for the battery. Yeah. Are you going to do the same thing with iPhone SE 2022s?
But with the iPhone SE, for sure. Yeah, love my button. In fact, here it is. I've got it over here. Hang on, I'll just get it.
This is the ultimate signifier of middle age, I think, and I'm there as well. When I bought the last suit that I bought 2 pairs of trousers to go with it, and I've bought several shirts of the same thing, because if I like one of them, I'm going to like the rest of them as well.
Oh, no, totally. I hate going into a shop and buying a pair of jeans I like, and then 6 months later when they're worn out, I think, where was that again? So if I find a pair of jeans that I like now, I buy 2 pairs. Yeah. See also washing up sponges, bottles of Ribena. If I go to the shop now, I'm like, well, I'm going to be back in 2 weeks' time buying another one. I might as well just buy multiple things of the same thing now. You open my kitchen cupboard, there's about 50 washing up sponges in there. Hey,
have you got all the toilet roll?
Yeah, if there's another lockdown and pandemic, I'm not hoarding for hoarding's sake. It's because what I'm doing is I'm being efficient. I'm saving myself time in the future by not having to go back and buying things that I buy on a regular basis. Think of it as like, Amazon sending you, when you subscribe, Amazon subscribe, but just the Jeff Marshall manual edition. I just buy multiple things in advance.
When my parents moved house, we went through their pantry to find the oldest food item in there, and we found a tin of sardines from 1982.
Hell yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. I think there's something that happens when we reach a certain age. I don't know whether it's decision fatigue or something, but we're just less likely to want to make new decisions and to make new choices, and more likely to sit on what we like already.
David, have you done the thing yet? I've never been to your current house. I don't know where you live. Have you done the thing where you sort of step outside your driveway onto the pavement and you go, and you touch and sigh, and you bend down to pick up like a sweet wrapper or something that someone's discarded on the pavement outside your house? Have you done that? Have you done that? Yes, yes, you totally have. You're at the picking up sweet wrapper stage of middle-aged. Happens to us all.
Happens to us all. Well, you'll be pleased to know I have 397 apps on my phone, so I still have some promiscuity.
You can't use them all.
Oh, so you've overtaken me.
Wow, David's in the lead, Will. How do you feel about that? He's winning. He's winning the app race. Oh, my God. This is momentous. Well, look at what 2023 has brought. It's a whole new world.
Well, I think one of the things here is that now that I can hide apps and I've got an app library and I turn off some of my home screens depending upon what mode I'm in, whether I'm in travel or whatever else in work, then I don't see those apps all the time, and therefore I don't feel the need to delete them. So because they are, to all intents and purposes, invisible, I don't use them all. I don't see them all, and therefore I don't feel the need to delete them.
We should just check, Jeff. Are you on iOS 16 or are you still on like iOS 12?
So I have 2 phones that I use concurrently, and one is on iOS 16, and the other one I refused to upgrade, and it's still on 15. The whole wallpaper thing, this whole the customizable wallpaper. That's horrendous. It's like, come on, that's how you're designing it, Apple? It's the most unintuitive way of selecting a new lock screen. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it more than the shit control panel, which we've now the uncustomizable.
It's got no colours in it
panel,
anymore, though.
Which they forced upon us 7 years ago. Yeah. But I did discover the coolest thing when I was fiddling around with it, trying to understand it, which I couldn't. It's got not just the Roman font in it, it's got Cyrillic fonts in, so you can have the time in like Arabic numerals and stuff. It's really cool. They've added in all the different fonts, so you can have the time displayed in a different script. That's quite nice. Thought that was nice.
I have actually left one of my phones on iPhone 15 purely because that's the only way you can see the battery level on your AirTags.
They've changed how you do voice memos as well. Before you could just press and hold the button, but now it's an app in the app drawer. That's stupid. Somebody must just sit there in Apple going, what can we take that you know and love and you're very familiar with? Have you tried the new, just changed for the sake of it?
Do you use Home at all, Jeff? The Home app?
Yeah, well, I've got an iPod mini, so I think I had to configure it through that, yeah.
But you don't use it for general mini, stuff?
What's it called? A HomePod. I've got a HomePod mini, yeah.
But you don't generally use the Home app?
I don't use the Home app for any home stuff, no.
Because that has completely changed. So trying to skip between 15 and 16, and where you press, sometimes you press on and it stops something, other times it opens it up.
But that was like when they changed that was like when they changed the Health app from iOS 14 to 15. They did that. Health app just went, it was like, whoa. It was as if they just gave it to a whole new design team, went here, You do what you like from scratch and ignore anything that any developer has done.
I mean,
before.
Home did
And they were
need
sure.
overdo, and actually, I think the iOS 16 version is better. It's just taking me a while to get used to the changes.
Speaking of home screens, Will, on your iOS 14, your
15.
home screen, 14. Your iPhone.
On my iPhone 14 running iOS 16, not my iPhone 11 running iOS 15.
Which is all very confusing. On your new phone,
Yeah.
your lock screen stays on, or has the ability to stay on all the time.
It does.
Got an
The
always-on
always-on
display
display
on that bad boy. How have you found that? Because I've heard a number of people who've made that upgrade actually found it a little bit disconcerting, or it took a little bit of adjustment to having their phone on all the time.
No, absolutely fine. Totally got used to it. Went through a stage. They added an option where you could just make it completely black, so you could turn off your wallpaper. Did that for a while, but didn't quite like that. I quite like just a little bit of color coming through. It's great. It's great. You can just see the time whenever you want. Just look at it. Time's there.
Will, it's very funny hearing you go, I've got this on my iOS this on this phone, and my iOS that on that phone. Here's a question to both of you. Here's a question. What do you think the last version of iOS will ever be? Like, will they get to iOS 100 and then retire it and rename it? Will we see that in our lifetime? When will iOS no longer be a thing and it becomes something else?
I think you're asking the wrong question there.
Ooh, I like that.
Rather,
I like that.
I'm going to disagree with a bit of your question. You see, I think they will carry on upgrading the software versions because that's relatively hidden away. I think it comes to the iPhone versions. We're on iPhone 14 now. At what point are they, is it going to be iPhone 20 or 19? The numbers just start to get a little bit unsexy and whatever. Correct. The higher up we get.
Correct. So, so what happens?
Well, is it just going to be iPhone 2025 edition or whatever? Really, that's what they've done with the iPhone SE.
Yeah, the Max as well.
And also with Max.
David, I think you need to imagine it further, because we have to remember that there was a time in our lifetime when iPhone wasn't a thing. So I think actually the answer is, just to freak you out, y'all, is
when
it will be is... Well, I'd like to think we'd see it in our lifetime. There is a revolutionary new product that hasn't yet been invented that will come along, and it won't be called iPhone. It'll be called something else. And how about this? What if it wasn't Apple that invented it? What if it was another company that came in with, here's the new thing, and we're calling it the new thing, and then that's version 1, and that's what happens. A brand new thing that has yet to be imagined.
The Frackulous glasses. Come and step into Frackulous reality.
I'm going to play this back in 10 years' time when I'm 50 and see if I was right.
Well, there's certainly something you're wrong about there, but anyway, we'll leave that one parked for now. So Will, sorry, we left you on a bit of a cliff edge.
Going back to the always on display.
Migration.
Sorry.
Always on display is great, especially when you've got the dynamic island stuff. I used Flighty recently. I was on a plane in an airport.
Oh,
There's an app
Flighty.
called Flighty, which basically is a flight companion app. It has good sources of data about flights, so it tells you basically before it's even announced which gate your flight's going to be at, whether it's delayed, all that kind of stuff. And just having that just on the lock screen, that was great. I've got a parking app that, when your parking's running down, it shows the parking on the display all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What else? There's not actually that.
Is that a widget? Do you use the widgets in the new wallpapers?
So this is on the lock screen. So the app has to use a thing called live activities. And that's a specific thing. So it's like a notification that stays there but updates live as stuff happens. Things like counting down your parking or telling you where to get your flight from. And then once that event is finished, you just dismiss it and it goes away.
Yeah, I've used Flighty. I've got I'm doing a couple of trip planning app things at the moment. So App in the Air is an app I've used for years to track my flights. Flighty is good. It's not the cheapest app though, is it?
Yeah, no, I use my one free
a
flight just to try it out. And I think if I was getting a couple of flights, I'd probably just subscribe for the month and then.
Yeah, I've got international travel starting for me again, but on the same kind of tack, also Tripsy and TripIt, both of those kind of services, you just forward your itinerary, your flight or your hotel or your parking and whatever else, and it presents them all very nicely. Tripsy is very similar to Flighty in that regard, and again, I think between them they do lock screen widgets. They certainly do normal home screen widgets, and they're pretty useful. Just coming back to your apps though, in terms of where the clock was counting down and you were going camping and you had lots of spinny apps on your screen. So what happened next?
This episode of Frackulous is brought to you by Audible.com, the premier provider of audiobooks. With over 180,000 titles to choose from, humans like to listen to things. If you're a human, you're probably listening to this podcast right now. Audiobooks on Audible are read by real live humans, often the same ones that wrote all of the words as well. Not only are you hearing the words written by the human, but you get to experience them exactly as they intended. Humans love listening to other humans. It is one of their favorite things to do, unlike Risk, which is good, because Audible is completely risk-free. If you don't like the sounds or words you're hearing, for any reason, you can exchange it for another without asking any questions. To start your free 30-day trial of Audible, which includes a free audiobook download, go to frackulous.com/audible so that they know that we sent you and to show your support for the show.
So I managed to basically authorize it either by putting the SIM in or taking the SIM out. I'm not sure exactly which one. And then downloaded the essentials. And then just download everything else over 5G because I got unlimited data. So spent a weekend in a field tapping apps and downloading them.
So you moved your SIM card over, and that's what did.
Yeah, I don't know whether, because I upgraded Bex as well recently, and I think I moved the SIM card before I did the transfer, but I can't quite remember.
Right.
And that one went fine. Device to device one, hers went absolutely fine. So I upgraded her onto a 13 mini because she was on a 12 mini. And obviously that mini's going away. So she, like Jeff, wanted to have a stock of small phones to last the rest of her life.
Yeah. Totally sensible. I cancelled, you talk about subscriptions, Will, I cancelled the only app subscription I've ever paid for the other day.
Was that Tweetbot?
Which was that?
There we go.
Oh,
you cancelled yours, did you?
It's never coming back, so it's time to cancel it.
I'm gonna leave mine in case. And then if they take it, they can have it because.
No, the only all the while he that shall remain nameless is there. It'll never come back. So unless it changes hands.
Yeah, no,
again,
true, but it's not their fault that they had the rug pulled under them, especially at a time when. I've also bought and paid for Ivory already. So
I have Ivory here. So the story here again, just thinking of whenever this podcast makes the airwaves, the point in time when we're at
next year.
Yeah, is that a couple of weeks ago, the owner of Twitter. Gosh, just imagine 12 months ago we were having, looking forward and imagining this conversation. So the owner of Twitter, I'm going to say his name.
Don't name him.
Okay. Elon Musk, the owner of Twitter. But whatever. He has, and in not a very nice way, basically.
We don't know it was him.
Rug. Well, no, but we're blaming him anyway, it would appear. Everyone else is. Have stopped third-party Twitter clients. I don't know if it's all of them, but certainly the high-profile ones, including Tweetbot and Twitterific and all of those that we've been using between us over the years, as well as the official Twitter app once it finally appeared, but have stopped them from accessing Twitter, which is really, really sad because Tweetbot was one of the longest-standing and most highly regarded Twitter clients going. So. Jeff, that was what you subscribed to. As I understand it, depending upon your timing there, that I think they were trying to stop those subscriptions from being taken. But it was Will. You still had.
I haven't cancelled mine. I mean, if it goes, I'm quite happy for them to have it.
Yeah,
just to tide them over a bit further.
When I cancelled, it said you're paid up till June. So we renew in June. So it's active until June anyway.
But Ivory that you mentioned is their very, very beautiful client for Mastodon, and I
still sounds like masturbate. Sorry, but it does. Really does every time.
Does a little bit. Do you know what? That had never occurred to me.
There we
That
go.
hadn't occurred to me either until you said it, Jeff.
Maybe that says more about you, Jeff, than it does
Wow.
about Mastodon itself. But anyway.
Well, that's because you're both happily married men.
Maybe. But Jeff, are you on Mastodon?
No.
No.
You haven't tooted yet, then.
People tell me that it's not quite there / polished yet, so maybe when it picks up. Then
Yeah, I was.
maybe.
I joined it using the official client for a bit, waiting for Ivory, and Ivory is so much better. It is like being back on Twitter. But I've gone for a
presumably
scorched
there's only
earth approach of not moving anything over. I'm just starting again.
But presumably there's not many people on it yet. So
Well, there are, and I'm going for so the reason I ended up following like 1,000 or 1,500 people on Twitter was I wrote an article once for a magazine where I think it was for a week, I just followed anybody that was mentioned in my feed by anybody else.
God.
And it just exponentially grew. But actually I found that was quite a good experience because then I had to make lists from it. And I did actually quite like the Twitter For You page because then it surfaced stuff from this big amount of followers. So I'm kind of doing the same approach with Mastodon. I'm kind of just starting again, following interesting people. Anyone who gets mentioned, follow them for a bit.
I just don't think it's a good name. Like Twitter, I was like, you could say tweet, Twitter, Mastodon, 3 syllables. It needs to be called Masty or Master or just Mast or something. Needs a better marketable name that falls off the tongue easier than Mastodon.
But at the time, I don't think it was the de facto competitor / destination for disillusioned Twitter people. It was just, Twitter's changed its name over the course of its life as well, or maybe added in a couple of vowels. Twitter. So yeah, I've got some sympathy with Mastodon. Probably didn't set out to have the mass appeal, and maybe neither does it want it either. It's not a commercial operation.
Well, it's a slightly different idea, isn't it? It's kind of
the Fediverse and all of that. But certainly when it all kicked off and when it looked as though Twitter was going to break, and I had this really silly situation where I was over at an event abroad back in October before all the Twitter stuff got really, really silly. And as I do when I'm at an event, I will update my display name, maybe put something in my Twitter bio.
Did you get locked down because you were verified?
So what happened was that I updated it. David in Madrid at Fuse 2022 or whatever it was.
Right, so it wasn't something embarrassing. It was just location related.
Not. Although I did see quite a few people got stuck with Halloween. Halloween type display names. But then because, yes, verified and Twitter just generally being really, really poor for a space of a few weeks, and we genuinely thought that the wheels might come off it, I was unable to change that. So until well into December, I think, it still looked as though I was basically living in Madrid. But I thought, I'm not bloody paying for Twitter Blue, which also took a long time to launch properly in the UK, but I'm not bloody paying for that just to change my display name. So if this is another reason for me to take the foot off the gas on Twitter, not that I've been particularly active on it for a long time anyway.
So do you still have a tick?
I do still have a tick, yes.
An unofficial official tick?
It is a disclaimer by my tick, and I think it's different depending upon if you're me visiting my profile or someone else visiting my profile. But if I tap on my blue tick, it says verified account. This is a legacy verified account. It may or may not be notable, which is fine.
What does that mean?
We'll just call you Legacy Dave.
Legacy Dave. There we go.
How's your tick status, Jeff?
In that it's there, but you can't see it.
Yeah.
Field. Yeah. Still stuck halfway. Unique as ever, as always. I love it.
What happened for you to discover you had a zombie status on Twitter?
No, we've done it. We've done this story, and we're doing it again. What? We've definitely done this story again.
No,
we've done this story.
The last one we recorded was in January last year.
scroll back through previous fracks.
I swear we haven't.
Guys. Oh, God. I had a blue tick, one of the originals, right? I've done this story. And then I was Jeff Tech on Twitter for years. And then one day I was in a sort of silly mood. And I changed it to... I renamed my Twitter account. I tried calling it Jeff Rail and then Jeff LDN for London. And then I went back to Jeff Tech. And in doing so, and I should have read it, if you rename your Twitter account, you lose your blue tick, right? But, caveat. Destin, Smarter Every Day, YouTube guy that's big on Twitter, like, million people, 6 million on YouTube, one day put out a tweet asking about what browsers people use, Firefox or Chrome or Edge or whatever. And I replied to him, just sort of joining in with the conversation. And he replied back to me going, who the hell are you? And what had happened is that he's got his replies sorted by, all verified and whatever. And I was appearing in his verified tab, but without a blue tick. And I was like,
so
what?
you
definitely...
So you could tweet Elon Musk and he'd see it because you'd go in his verified list.
Yes. So I appear in people's verified tabs, even though I don't have the blue tick by my name. So deep down in the database somewhere, that I am verified, but not enough to actually display the legacy blue tick against my name. And I wonder who else is in that position. I feel like I'm in a very small select club. But how cool is that?
So you're neither notable nor not notable.
well, that's always been the case, David. I mean, that's nothing new. So, yeah. But I've still got my 3D plastic blue tick. Where is it?
Yeah, they can't take that away from you, can they?
Yeah. One of my friends printed me out a 3D blue tick, and I still got that. Happy days.
Speaking of apps, one app I definitely don't have installed on my phone anymore, very sadly, is Dark Sky. Yeah. So what are you using as your weather app of choice now that Apple has cut the Achilles tendon of what was by far and away the best weather app?
I am reluctantly using the built-in weather app and doing things in 3 or 4 clicks. That took me 1 or 2 in Dark Sky. But
I just use the BBC weather app because I use it on the web desktop. So I just have it on my phone as well.
I was using Carrot Weather, and this
we're
is an app.
using
You pay for that.
the
You
old
pay for
Dark
that, don't you,
Sky version of Carrot Weather.
Well, right. So
You pay for
yes,
Carrot, right?
I did pay for Carrot Weather because I wanted a little bit more than the freebie subscription gave me. But then Carrot Weather went through this big update, and listening to other podcasts and blogs were praising the new version of Carrot Weather. I forget the version for being just even better. I didn't like it really because it took away the character in many ways from Carrot Weather. So I've uninstalled that. I've unsubscribed or desubscribed from paying for that. And now I am fully in on the Apple weather. And yes, it's an extra tap or two to get to where I want to, but it's fine. And most of my weather gazing comes from my watch anyway. So
again, you see, it's the Apple Department of Unnecessary Changes. Hey lads, how can we make the user experience longer, more frustrating by adding more clicks? And they've sat round and had that meeting.
It's prettier though.
It is very pretty.
Don't get me started on that. Was it years ago when they brought out the iCloud Office iLife suite? And remember, there's the numbers spreadsheet. There's an iOS app. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, numbers are still around.
Yeah. Yeah, but their tagline for that was like the world's most beautiful looking spreadsheet application. And I'm like, Will, can I swear? Are you going to bleep me out? And I'm like, guys, I don't want a fucking spreadsheet application that looks beautiful. I want one that works and has power and functionality. So go fuck your beauty. That's 2 bleeps. I'm so sorry.
I thought you were in a laid back mood, Jeff.
I think this is me in a laid back mood. That's how irritated the numbers spreadsheet app makes me, that even in a laid back mood, it makes me swear. So, yeah. But you get my point. You can make something look as good as you like, but if it's not got the function, the outside of the car can look great. If there's no engine in it, and then the beauty means nothing. It doesn't.
I mean, the engine in weather is great. It's a Dark Sky engine, so in that respect, the data's good. It's just slightly longer to find the things you want. But it's fine. It's fine.
So, Jeff, your BBC weather app, you are
Apple Weather.
Just you've gone to the Apple Weather.
I was kind of using it a bit anyway, just to see, because I knew the days were numbered. I did screenshot it at about, I think, first thing the 1st of January, and it was still working.
Oh.
I was like, we've got a reprise. But no, it was just a time zone thing.
Yeah.
What, so they killed it on December 31st midnight?
Yeah, but in a certain time zone.
Yeah, Pacific time, perhaps.
Yeah.
And I think when I did open it up the following day or two, I think it had a severe weather warning, warning triangle, and I tap on that, and that's when it told me, yep, sorry.
Yeah.
That's your lot. That's all, folks. Just looking back at our content list from January 2022. So, COVID update. I think we can probably draw a line under that one.
This episode of Frackulous is brought to you by ExpressVPN, the easiest way to protect your online privacy. So easy, even a human could do it. ExpressVPN secures and anonymously anonymizes your internet browsing by encrypting your data and hiding your public IP address. Turning on ExpressVPN protection only takes one single click, and there are easy-to-use apps that run seamlessly in the background whether you insist on using a tablet, phone or computer. ExpressVPN is rated the #1 VPN service by fellow humans at techradar.com. ExpressVPN has a special offer just for humans that listen to Frackulous with their ears. You can get 3 months free without paying any money if you sign up for a 1-year package for a year. To sign up for a 1-year package and get 3 months free for free and to show your support for the show, sign up at frackulous.com/expressvpn.
My local coffee shop has taken down the protective plexiglass screen. Plexiglass?
Oh, really?
That's the American version. Hang on. What's the
Perspex.
UK version? Perspex. Thanks. There we go. Yeah. So the Perspex screens are coming down. What made me say plexiglass? How amazing. The screens are coming down. Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, COVID's pretty much a thing of the past, isn't it? Well, I mean, no one's catching that anymore in this country. So.
No one's getting it over Christmas, are they?
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Well, William, that's because if you'd have caught it earlier, like the rest of us.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to get you got a vaccine at the end of the year, didn't you?
The fourth one?
Yeah.
The booster?
Yeah.
The old man booster vaccine? Yeah.
Oh,
Sure.
I haven't had that yet.
Yeah, see, I would have gladly paid for one. I paid for a flu vaccine, but there were no COVID vaccines to be had, unfortunately, which may have changed our Christmas, which for the 3rd year running got completely ruined by COVID. And
Hang on. So, Will, in one-line sentence, why were your 3 Christmases in a row destroyed? Because of all the old COVID?
yeah, all
First year was
COVID.
what?
So first time was
First year
obviously
was-
full lockdown. No.
Okay.
No
So, yeah.
visitors at all.
Yeah.
Second time, my daughter got COVID.
That's right.
It was like 2 days before Christmas.
And third
And
time
then
was
this year, my wife got it basically 4 days before Christmas. Managed to
Right.
get clear by Christmas Day, but then me and my son then tested positive. So that
Merry
ruined that.
COVID. Yo ho ho.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, given that we've all had a few jabs between us, how did it affect you this time around?
Well, I had it back in April as well.
Yeah.
About the same, really. Didn't lose my sense of smell. Just a bad cold, really, and just in bed for a couple of days and just knackered.
Do you know, that's reminded me, when we recorded last, it was exactly this week last year, because I remember it's like,
It can't be a year.
It is.
It can't.
For all I know, it might
No.
even have been the same date. But I was going to be travelling
I'm gonna check my calendar.
travelling abroad on a job this weekend,
Mm.
and I tested positive for COVID 2 days after we recorded this podcast because my youngest daughter had caught it. I'd been at home looking after her because she couldn't go into school, obviously. And then I caught it, which meant I missed out on a week's work in sunnier climes. So yeah, I did get the COVID, and it was fine. I had a bit of a tickly cough, and
those
not
were
a
the days
great
when you
deal
couldn't
else.
get on a plane with COVID as well, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly. But I was poorly too over Christmas. I caught this, the not COVID flu thing that was certainly making its way across the UK, and oh boy, I can't recall feeling that ill for many years. I was 3.5 weeks or thereabouts, and I had some pretty strong opioids and some antibiotics, and it was a real struggle. But hey ho, I'm still here, and that's certainly something to be grateful for. Well, for me anyway. I don't know about you, but I'm happy I'm still here.
We're happy you're still here too, David. I can't find in my diary from last year when we recorded.
You've probably deleted it, Jeff. You've probably slimmed down your diary, haven't you? Got rid of any unnecessary entries.
Surely you, Will, can scroll back and find the date of that. Surely. Yes?
Let me see.
I am looking January 2022, and I can see that on...
This portion of the podcast brought to you by Awkward Pauses. Awkward Silences. Thanks, David. This is the continuity machine that cuts in after 5 seconds of silence. You're listening to... Any time now, David.
Well, I can see the 12th of January 2022.
Oh, there it is. You're right. 12th of... I've just found it.
There we go.
It's in my diary. I found it. 12th of Jan.
There we go.
There you go. 12th of Jan.
We recorded it. Yeah, that was a Wednesday.
So we're a little bit late.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're not just 12 months late. We are 12 months and 2 weeks late.
We're over a year. Amazing.
Well, that's the COVID update section of the show. Other staples of Frackulous certainly
new
include
Apple
SIM
toys.
cards and roaming, but also AirTags. And I think we've all done AirTags things, and I've got an AirTag story. But Jeff, your sharp intake of air.
Yeah, but no, do you know, I'm just having a whinge. Because, David, you and I thought we were quite fast off the bat doing a can you find someone with an AirTag? Do you remember we ran around on the tube?
I do.
I have a video called Do AirTags Work on the Underground, right? And it only got like 150,000 views. But there's a channel, is it Mr. Who's the Boss, who's like this amazing tech reviewer, and he did one with Tom Scott. They did it twice. Had like 4 million views. And they just planted an AirTag on each other and then tried to find each other. And I'm like, no, we did it first. And they're running around London on trains and buses and landmarks.
It's just Tom Scott related, though.
Yeah, and he's teamed up with Mr. Who's the Boss, who is brilliant.
Yeah.
He's like this huge channel. Yeah, but I know. But I'm just saying, David, we did it first.
Well, I also did it a few weeks ago and probably got more than 1 million views for the one that I did, I'm sorry to say.
I'm sorry, what?
Well, so not on my YouTube channel, but
where should I be searching?
Rip Off Britain, the TV show that I regularly do stuff on. They have a spin-off called Rip Off Britain Holidays, and they did a good chunk of a show on what happens to your luggage when it goes through an airport. So they went down to Gatwick Airport, I think it was, and had a look at all the high-tech luggage, this, that, and the other. And then a viewer had written in saying, "Well, I had my luggage got lost when I came back from somewhere." And we had this great idea. And Jeff, I have to say, when I was chatting with the producer and pitching this idea in, I did share a couple of personal anecdotes and sent them a link to our YouTube video.
Yes.
And that helped to seal the deal, because a couple of weeks later, I was out filming in Cheltenham and Gloucester, following a researcher in a hire car who had an AirTag, driving around the town, and a couple of television cameras filming us trying to find them on a kind of wild goose chase hunt thing.
So,
and
spoiler, David, you're going to have to tell us. And the outcome was?
Well, the outcome was nearly legal trouble, which it just occurs to me. I don't know whether this is a good idea to talk about on the podcast or not. But
okay, well then,
but I will do. So I will do. So basically, yes, we did find this suitcase that they'd parked. Challengingly enough, they parked in a car park of a village hall that didn't have many people passing by, which is one of the challenges. When you're on the London Underground or anywhere else that's busy, an airport or wherever, you've got lots of people, half of which may have an iPhone on them and be connected to the cloud, and therefore you've got a fair chance of finding your luggage or whatever else you've got your AirTags attached to. But if you're in the middle of blooming nowhere, it's a little bit more challenging and you have to be a little bit more patient. But anyway, we found the luggage and that was all good. So the other thing was, for the item, being the BBC, they wanted an element of balance. So it's like, we don't want it to be too Apple-centric. David, have you got another brand's tracking device? And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. So I've got a Vodafone Curve device, which, Will, you and I have both spoken about these in the past.
Mine's in the forest. I still haven't found it 2 years later. Still have a look every now and again.
Surely the battery's died by now.
That's why I couldn't find it.
Battery would have died after about 12 hours. That's half the problem with the thing. But anyway, I digress. So they were keen that I bring along the Vodafone Curve and talk about that very briefly as well, even though we were going to be doing this treasure hunt with the Apple AirTag. And we were talking about it in the context of Rip Off Britain holidays and luggage and going on planes and things. And after the show went to air, I got an email from our series producer saying, "Hi, David, we just had a viewer get in touch with a query about whether these are allowed on aeroplanes or not." And I'm like, oh, interesting. And they were concerned about the battery on these devices. So I'm like, oh, yes, of course.
Cell battery that's really underpowered.
Well, exactly. Now, interestingly, I had already answered this question, and we filmed it on the filming day. And Lufthansa, I believe it was, in Europe, had already made quite a big fuss about banning AirTags initially from going on flights, and then it had to backtrack once they'd spoken to, once they'd had the regulations clarified with them from various international airports and so on. So it became clear after some initial confusion that Apple AirTags were indeed allowed in hold luggage on aeroplanes, despite the fact that they have a lithium-ion battery in them. It is minute, one of those CR2032 cells, so nothing to worry about. The Vodafone Curve has a couple of challenges with it. Now, even though we weren't doing the experiment with this item, and I've been asked fairly last minute just to bring it along, just so that we could show something else in the film, so it wasn't just an Apple thing. So I'd shown it, and then we'd kind of discarded it. However, that has an integrated battery that without taking one apart, you don't really know what that battery is. You can have a look on the back or on the side and see how powerful, how big that battery is, and do a little bit of maths. And I found some calculations as to what sizes of lithium-ion batteries you are allowed. And in theory, it's safe, but there's nothing that says that it's actually safe to take on a plane. Apple AirTags, it's Apple. So, of course, there's lots of publicity around that. Vodafone Curve? No, who knows? So, on the one hand, that was fine. But then on the other hand, it's got a SIM card or an eSIM inside it. And in theory, you're not allowed to have at the moment, and this is changing in some places, but at the moment, you're not allowed to have a little device using a SIM card broadcasting in a cellular manner on board a plane still. You're meant to put your devices into airplane mode, which kind of means that this device, even though we'd mentioned it in the item, actually you can't put it in your luggage and take it on a plane. So cue a few emails back and forth and a little bit of research and getting in touch with Vodafone and all the rest of it. It was it was fine because we did major on the Apple AirTag thing. But yes, I kind of wish we'd maybe been a little bit clearer about how the Vodafone curve. That's more for domestic holidays and staycations rather than jumping on a plane to Barcelona or whatever.
At school.
Well, exactly that. Exactly that. But yeah, I've had to replace a couple of batteries. Literally only a couple. I've got one that's run down, but otherwise my AirTags are going great guns. I wouldn't leave home without them.
Mine is still going. Yeah, I've replaced the batteries in mine.
Like the annoying thing, as I said earlier, is once you're on iOS 16, you can't see the actual level until you have to replace them.
I hadn't appreciated that until you mentioned it just now.
Again, they've made a change that makes it less helpful. Wow.
And why would they do that? I mean,
I don't know. I guess maybe the idea is you don't need to know until you need to replace it, but you have no kind of like forewarning that it's kind of got to half.
Just change the battery once a year anyway.
Just for fun.
As a matter of, just be like, change the battery now.
So how many AirTags are you on now, David?
I think we're 8 as a family, and I've given a couple to my wife. So actually, I'm on 6.
Right.
And my wife's keyring has got one, and I think there's one in her car. So even though we can track where her car is through the app, I think we also have an AirTag in her car just in case.
Yeah. I have 3, and I bought one for my mum, so I'm on 4.
That's the problem, isn't it? Oh, we're on our 12 now. We're on our 3rd 4-pack.
Wow. And the price just went up as well, didn't it? Blimmin' inflation.
You can't have enough AirTags. Well, actually, you can only have 16, can't you? And then...
A what?
I think
Is
so.
Is that true?
I think you can only have 16 per Apple ID.
It's a 4-bit system. 0 to 15.
I think there is a limit.
That's it. It's a limit of 16 per Apple ID, right?
It is 16, apparently.
Yeah, and no family sharing it as well, which is the most annoying thing.
They really need to sort that out.
Hang on, what? Family sharing? So multiple people in the family can see one AirTag?
Yeah. So at the moment,
I borrowed my wife's car the other
keys
day.
are on my account, whereas the one on my son's book bag is on my wife's account.
That'll come. They'll do that in iOS 17, won't they? That's definitely going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't see the face I'm pulling when you say that.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, they'll make it slightly more difficult and move everything and take away all the helpful buttons, but they'll do it for sure. Yeah. Nice.
Going back to the internet gradually falling apart, we've seen how Twitter, since its recent change in management, has certainly changed. Facebook have probably been grateful for something else taking a lot of the attention away from them for a little while. I'm curious as to how you're finding YouTube at the moment, Jeff.
How is YouTube
is that changing at all, or is it actually pretty steady?
This episode of Frackulous is brought to you by FreshBooks, the easy-to-use online invoicing software designed to get you paid cash money faster. Face it, humans, you are not good with numbers. If you're not a numbers human, sign up for FreshBooks and let them handle the hard stuff for you. FreshBooks users save 2 days per month on average, which you could spend doing futile tasks like talking to other humans and eating food in front of each other. In order to pay for these pointless activities, you are going to need money. FreshBooks lets you create invoices that look more professional than your substandard motor skills allow. You can even keep track of expenses, so you don't end up with negative money. Which is bad if your entire world is built on having it to survive. To try FreshBooks for free for 30 days, go to frackulous.com/freshbooks and enter Frackulous into the How Did You Hear About Us section, so that they know that we sent you and to show your support for the show.
I would say reasonably steady. Are you fishing for something? No, it's still here. The main thing, people always, I hear that TikTok's going to be the YouTube killer, but it hasn't happened yet. Touching all the wood.
I mean, have you done any shorts?
Yeah, but they're not that popular. I come
in and my son's watching shorts. It's just like, stop. It's all mindless. Like, it's beyond
So
It's just such
YouTube will always
clickbaity- oh.
YouTube will always be there for people that don't want mindless vertical video. It'll be there for people that be like, no, I want to watch something proper. So my point is that if you create and produce something sit downable and proper, there will always be a market for that.
We banned YouTube for a while just because of all the ragey stuff on there, and only allowed Nebula, which has a level. It's like basically it's a selection of YouTubers that in a network that you pay directly, and they usually release first on Nebula.
I've never heard of this before.
You've never heard of Nebula?
No, I haven't.
Wow. Call yourself a tech journalist.
It's very good. I mean, I signed up for it through, I think Tom Scott had it. He was part of it originally. Or he was on it. He had a series called Money on it, which is very good.
Yeah.
And I signed up through a Curiosity Stream deal where it's like £10 for the year and it included Nebula or something ridiculous like that.
Wow.
What is the difference between Nebula and Curiosity Stream, Will?
Curiosity Stream is another company, but Nebula is now moving away from Curiosity Stream. But they also have podcasts as well, exclusive podcasts. But we've all, well, actually 3 out of 4 of the family really enjoyed Jetlag, the game. That's
is that on Nebula?
It launches first on Nebula. So originally they did half as interesting was what's his name, Sam Wendover's other channel. They did Crime Spree, which was basically they tried to break as many stupid laws in America in a 3-day period, while Adam and Ben were chasing. And that was kind of the beginning of Jetlag. That was like a Nebula exclusive, and proved the idea for Jetlag, and then they basically then made Jetlag. But it's a week earlier on Nebula. That's the main thing.
Strange Parts is there as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
all your favourite
okay.
YouTubers. But it's kind of...
Are you there, Jeff?
No, considered.
So not all
yet.
my favourite YouTubers.
Yay! Correct response.
So yeah, for a while we went through the stage of only allowing Nebula, and we've let YouTube back into the life.
Not even YouTube Kids will.
No, there's nothing on there really they want to watch. There is a void of just good, largely educational content, rather than just clickbait rubbish that the algorithm feeds you.
My kids aren't allowed to watch YouTube.
Should let them have Nebula.
Why is that, David?
We are quite controlling. I mean, my eldest daughter's not 13 yet, and my youngest is 10. I mean, a similar age to yours, Will. But we just don't feel comfortable giving them unfettered access to the internet yet. And that's not, we I guess we trust them, but we don't trust the platform to serve them stuff that will upset them. So, I mean, Netflix, fill your boots. Disney Plus, go for it, kids. Amazon Prime, they can't be bothered because there's not very much on there for them. But otherwise, we're just a little bit more control. They don't have access really to any social networks, any social media yet either. The time will come, but not yet.
They're only allowed YouTube on like the telly in the lounge where we can keep an ear on it, and then that
makes sense.
And that's when things stop watching Alex Mindless, and then
that's so that they can watch my videos, Will, right?
Yes, just your videos, Jeff, and then
good.
I think there is some manual curation that goes on. Of course, my eldest daughter's friends, they are on TikTok and whatever, and some of them couldn't care less. But there are some things that the kids want to watch, and indeed for homework, some of the tasks that they get set is watch this YouTube video and then comment or report on whatever the action is after that. So, we're kind of happy. And if there's things that I think will engage them and interest them, then we watch it together. But in terms of, there we go. Yeah, there's your tablet or whatever. But we're not quite there yet.
Another pause. This podcast brought to you by the sponsor that you're listening to right now. That's the second edit point, Will. That's the second edit point. The worrying thing is that you might leave that bit in. That's the funny thing. Maybe you will. We have been recording an hour, by the way. 1 hour.
I was kind of waiting for the end of I was waiting for somebody and you can hear it on other podcasts. I certainly hear it on Cortex. Well, I know you listen to Cortex as well. Just when you reach a point and Gray is fishing, and everything he says for about the last 10 minutes, sometimes it seems, is bringing the show to an end.
Yeah, although
and then Mike just carries on talking.
So I subscribe to the Mortex members one, and sometimes you get extra half an hour.
Whoa, stop. Mortex. I've already worked it out, but Mortex. there's a pro level Cortex.
There is a subscription. It's the first one I subscribed from the beginning of Mortex, and you get like between 10 and 30 minutes of extra content. Where you get to see behind the scenes. You get to hear
more levels.
Hear all the stuff they don't want to talk about in front of the main audience.
Wow.
So I also so this is all part of the Relay FM podcast network. And Will, you introduced me to Cortex about 5 or 6 years ago, and I don't subscribe to Mortex, although I do listen to Cortex. I listen to Connected. I am a Connected Pro member instead. I think mainly because there's an episode a week rather than 10 episodes a year or whatever it is of Connected. And I just feel as though I get a little bit more value. And I quite enjoy hearing Federico Vitici talking about his smart home antics. And Mike too, particularly given that they've both recently moved into new properties, and I'm finding them building up their homes from different bits of kit. Really, really interesting at the moment.
Did you know there are about 15 or so Hello Internets called Goodbye Internet? You can get for free if you subscribe to the Patreon, which is only per episode. So if you join,
stop. Will rewind. Very carefully say that again.
So if you join the Hello Internet Patreon, you then get access to the members feed. And in that, I think there are like 15 or 16 additional bonus episodes that are called Goodbye Internet.
I'm doing it now. I'm going onto Patreon. Literally off screen. Why have you never mentioned this before?
We've actually started listening from the beginning of Hello Internet in the car.
Oh my God. Word.
Oh my. Find creators. Hello, Internet.
Oh, hang on. They've got some Goodbye Internet on YouTube as well.
Yeah, but that's just all the regular episodes.
Right.
Will, is the Goodbye Internet, was it like Mortex? Was it additional bits during Hello Internet?
There were additional episodes. They're in the feed, so you just go through the...
No, but were they recorded during the time that it was active, or are you telling me that they've done those after they've?
Oh no, they were. It was during the active period.
Oh, so okay. It's just they're not. Sorry, I thought they were new episodes which were Patreon only.
They're just new, as in not heard from before.
Yeah, Hello Internet. I fell off the bus with that one. I reached a point where I was in podcast deficit, podcast debt every week, and I just had too many things going in, not enough opportunity to listen, so I had to be selective. And I think it was some kind of tech and tech adjacent podcasts. I think all of my podcast listening was becoming tech and tech adjacent, and I felt as though maybe that was a little bit unhealthy. So I said, I'm going to listen to these 2 or 3, and yeah, I'm afraid Hello Internet was one of the victims of that. So I don't feel as much of a compulsion as clearly Jeff does to go back and finish it off properly.
Sorry, 3 things. Sorry, hang on. Will, it looks like it's one. It wants to charge me £3 per podcast episode of Goodbye Internet.
Yeah.
Is that
so only when they release the next episode will you get charged.
Well, what about previous episodes?
No, not like it's literally when they release a new one.
How do I listen to the previous Goodbye Internets?
You just sign up.
Okay.
You'll get a feed. You add it to your podcast player of choice.
Okay.
And it's only if they then release an episode.
Okay. Secondly, David, that's because Hello Internet is, no arguing, the best podcast that has ever been or will be. Thirdly, do you know Michael Spicer on YouTube? He does The Room Next Door. He rips the bleep. He rips the shit out of politicians. About a month ago, he recorded like he does little 2-minute comedy sketches on YouTube. And one of them was like, So hi, we're here on the so and so podcast. Oh yeah. And he does this parody of like, well, we should get Mike off the other podcast. Yeah, I was just saying on Susan's podcast last week, what a great podcast that was. So we've fallen into the trap of a podcast talking about another podcast. We have become the Michael Spicer comedy sketch. Literally, we've done it. That's terrible.
Goodbye, Frackulous.
Have you not seen this? You need to go and see the clip because you'll relate hard and you'll find it funny. Okay.
Have we got time to talk about your watch, David?
Hey, what time is it, David?
The time is time to talk very quickly about my watch. I have an Apple Watch Ultra, which is a big watch.
It does look big.
It does look big.
Does it make the tea? Does it show you the weather?
Well, yes, it does show me the weather as it happens, and we've been in double digits here today, which after a pretty horrible winter.
Does it Star Trek transport you to a different planet? No?
I haven't tried that yet. Lest I spoil this recording, I won't try right now. But yes, so this was the watch that was announced probably about 5 months or so ago by Apple, and it is the Ultra, the Pro edition of the Apple Watch. And at least how they pitched it when they launched it, it was all very much about ultra extreme sports, and it competes
which is what I do when I think about ultra sports. I think of you, David. That's my go-to.
And my 5K park run once every week or two. Yep, that is me. But I tried it on. That was my first mistake. I tried it on in October in an Apple store in Cardiff, I think. And I was concerned about the size, but then I realised actually my Apple Watches had been smaller than the watches I used to wear before Apple Watches were a thing. I'd always been a big watch guy, and I'm 6'2", and there's a fair amount of me. So actually, I prefer the size of this to my old Apple Watch, which was a series. I think it was a Series 5 or Series 7. Oh no, I upgraded from a 4 to a 7, didn't I? So I had a 7 for a year, traded it in for probably not the best price after a year, and got one of these. And I have to say, absolutely love it. The size works very, very well. The only downside for me is the extra button. You've got this kind of action button that's coloured in international orange on the side. And what I find is that I press it accidentally all the time because it faces where my cuff is. It's the accidental button, very good. But also when I go to press my crown or my other button, where does your thumb go? Well, you press against the other side of your watch.
And what have you got it set to do, or have you got it set to do nothing?
It is set to do a stopwatch.
Right.
I time myself. I time how long it's taking me to do things. I time counting down things like kind of like a personal Pomodoro. I think most Pomodoros are personal, but 5 minutes is as long as I'm going to give myself to do this, just to give me a little nudge so I don't get distracted. So it is set to my stopwatch to kind of count up at the moment, because anything more important than that, I'm kind of a bit scared that it'll just keep on going off all the time.
Can you
so
have,
whenever
emergency alert on that button? Or...
I don't know exactly what you can configure it to. It wouldn't surprise me if that, given that it's in international orange, it wouldn't surprise me if that were one of the options. But I wouldn't surprise me if when Apple does release a revision 2 of the Apple Watch Ultra, which I don't think will be this year. I think they'll give it a couple of years because it isn't a cheap watch either. That they make this a little bit more difficult to press accidentally, because I'm sure I'm not the only one who's fallen foul of this. But no, I love it. I love the aesthetic of it, and it feels. I think the Apple Watch had got just a little bit common, Will. So I love being once again part of a bit of an exclusive group of Apple Watch Ultra owners. And I was sat next to someone the other day who happened to have this watch on, and a knowing glance was exchanged between us as we clocked each other's timepieces.
You still have you got a Garmin there, Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff. What's on your wrist?
I haven't been listening for the last minute because I've been going, oh look, goodbye internet episodes. So what were we talking about? I literally tuned out for 30 seconds.
Yeah, honestly, I was just talking about.
I have no idea what you were saying.
I was just talking about watches, Jeff.
Still got my Garmin. I did that classic thing where at some point last year,
or is it still on its first charge?
No, you'll love this. I lost my Garmin watch, right? I couldn't find it anywhere.
You lost it?
Oh.
Yeah. Searched around the house in my running gear and everything. So after a week of being annoyed, I bought a second exactly the same watch. Right? And the day it turned up is when obviously I put my you know what's coming. I put my hand into my coat pocket, which I don't know from where, and I went, oh, there's my watch. So then had two identical watches, but then even more hilariously,
identical phones
to go with my 3 phones. Yeah, so I've got a backup watch. But then when I tried to set up the new watch, this was hilarious. My original watch was in my bag, and I was sat on the train, and I was trying to pair my phone with my new watch via Bluetooth. And it was like, David's got it. And it was like, type in this code. And I type in the code. It was like, no, it doesn't work. I'm like, what? What do you mean it doesn't work? And of course, it's trying to pair to the phone that's in my bag and not in the one that's in my hand. And I'm typing in a code for a phone that doesn't, for a watch.
So you can't have two paired with the same phone?
No, you can.
Oh, but it's all right, because you've got 3 phones, so you can pair them with different phones.
No, I tried it. You can. When I realised that it was doing the other watch first, you can pair 2 watches with the same phone.
Right.
And the Garmin app will allow that. But yes, so that was funny. So I now have two watches. Sure. I love my Garmin. Don't take my Garmin away from me.
End of Frackulous. If your puny human minds can handle more, then follow on Twitter. @FRACKULOUS or individually. David McClelland. DAVIDMCCLELLAND. JeffTech. GEOFFTECH. @Will Head WILLHEAD. Email your brains to hello@frackulous.com. They say we're young and we don't know. We won't find out until we grow. Well, I don't know if all that's true. Cause you got me, and baby, I got you.
Okay, there we go. This year's Frackulous.
This year? Oh, gosh.
2023 edition.
Yeah.
Well, I was just looking at the notes on our Slack, and 2 things. First of all, I can tell I haven't opened up Slack a long time ago when it says this version of Slack we stopped supporting in September 2022. I'm just not a Slack guy at the moment, so that's me.
We've also lost all the messages.
Well, yes, older than 90 days in a lot of the channels.
It used to be like 10,000 messages or something. Now it's just 90 days.
They really want your pro subscription dollars. But the other thing that caught me out was, here we are recording in January 2023. I saw the content. I know. Content ideas. And I saw 12th of January, last updated. I thought, okay, this has been updated fairly recently.
Last year.
Yeah, last updated. And then I looked at it again only after I'd mentioned this to Will before you joined. And I said, you must have updated the content list recently. He goes, no, I don't think I did. I looked again, 12th of January 2022, last updated apparently. So lots of things have happened since then, but not really in our list somehow.
David, you're looking a little svelte. You lost a bit of weight there. You're looking good, my friend. You're looking healthy and chipper.
Well,
you've been running. You've been laying off the chocolate. What have you been doing?
I ate all the food over Christmas, and Jeff, I think since the last time we spoke on a Frackulous, I have been doing a bit more running. I've been doing this park run thing that I know you were a big fan of. So
I hear that's popular.
Park run.
I hear that's a thing.
Yeah,
is that a thing? It's a thing.
Yeah,
it'll totally be a thing.
Well,
yes.
Jeff and I are friends on it's not a social network, it's just an app because you can have apps that aren't social network, believe it or not, 2023. Every time we do a park run based activity, we can compare our PBs or whatever, because I don't do PBs at the moment because I did eat a lot of food over Christmas, and I'm very grateful that you think I didn't.
All right. Will, how are you? Merry New Year.
Yeah, thank you. Good, thanks.
Merry things. All the things.
All the things.
I feel, again, we always say this, this is a back in the swing of things episode, and the next one we'll do, obviously within the next month or two, it'll be even sweeter and smoother and stuff. So sure.
Look forward to it. We
yes.
can share hotel room anecdotes, Jeff.
We didn't even touch on that this episode, did we? So save that for next
Oh.
time.